What's good, family? Welcome to a Miners Who podcast, the show with the freshest opinions and views on the world's most beautiful game. I'm your host, Greg, and I'm here with the homies, the squad, TK, Dunkman, Keith. Shout out to the homies in their absence, Brian and Leak. Boys, how are we feeling?
You're just running through that now. I remember episode 15, still struggling. Might have to run it back a couple of times. Now it's just you do that in your sleep. I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good.
There was a little switch up, too. Like, episode 15, he started saying something different.
Right, because at first I was saying, and we're live. I'm like, We're not live. I got to stop lying to the people. I'm editing these. And y'all see the cuts. It's not like the cuts are like smooth.
We could be live.
We could be, but not today.
Not today.
We're going to be live one day, y'all. Maybe for the finals. Who knows? We got the stuff. We could be live for the finals. Have some people sit in here. Do it at a barbershop. My barber said he let us use his barbershop to do like a show, something like that. Maybe.
The rating of said video would be...
That's cool. That's cool.
Say less.
That's cool.
Say less.
I missed that.
The rating.
The rating?
Because
It won't be E. It won't be E.
At a barbershop.
Fair.
Live.
Fair.
At a barbershop.
The energy's going to be different, but y'all understand. Y'all understand. I can't change people. TK, how we doing, man?
Yeah, like I said, I'm straight. Recovering from...
It's been rough. Rough couple hours for Lakers fans.
Yeah, I haven't gotten it too bad, though. I expected everybody to hit my phone or whatever and just blah, 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 but they watched that game, so...
You can't blame Lakers fans for what happened.
Nah, it's not on us this time.
Not this time.
Not this time.
Dunk, how we doing?
I'm cool. I'm chilling.
It's good to see you again.
Yep.
Not like we ain't been here for the last 2 hours.
We've been here for a while.
2,
3, 4.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I got here 6:30 on the dot.
Oh, man, we been here a while.
He picked me up at like 5:30.
Man, I appreciate everyone who's watching the show, everyone who's listening. For those who's listening on Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Podcasts, you name it, we appreciate it. Please continue to show love to the show by rating and reviewing it. Yeah. If you're going to leave a rating, like I said last time, 5 or 4 stars, we don't want to hear nothing else, man, because my mama said it best. If you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all.
Don't say it.
I like that. I kind of like that. That's dope. So please show love. For the people watching on YouTube, continue to show love, like, comment, subscribe. Join the conversation. We appreciate the conversation. Shout out to my boy AJ Holiday. Shout out to my boy Ben. Shout out to everyone who comments on the videos. We love the energy. We love to talk to y'all. Y'all been great. And keep sharing that show with us so we can grow and reach more people, because that's what we want to do. Also, a note, 24 hours. You have 24 hours because we are still
24
taking pre-orders for our shirts that will be donated. The majority of the proceeds will be donated to
Too Many Org. So, as we explained before in all of the posts and in past podcasts that we've had, Too Many Orgs working with Black youth in Richmond. They're having summer camps as well that they're running, where it's going to be great activities that a lot of kids actually don't do all the time, like fishing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know the last time I went fishing. I was a kid. I was with my granddad. So a lot of times, especially my teenage years, I'd never experienced stuff like that. So they're actually getting the kids to experience a whole lot of things that normally they wouldn't be doing on a Saturday or Sunday. So please, if you want to donate, buy the shirts. It's $25. Like Greg said, majority of the proceeds will go to Too Many organization. So after that, if you just don't want to get a shirt for some reason, some people just don't want shirts. That's like they'll look at me and they'll be like, "Do I need a shirt?" And I'm like,
I had a church just donate $100.
Just donate.
Didn't ask for shirts. Just hit the $100. Appreciate what y'all trying to do.
Leave me alone, TK. Here's 5. Stop talking to me, TK. Here's 10. I love the Black youth in Richmond, TK. Here's 20.
Right.
But just do whatever you can. Like I said, like I will always say, I appreciate everybody who's appreciating us. Greg said it best. Pre-order ends 24 hours, Sunday, June 6th. Hit us up. DMs.
Let's get to this show, man, because we've been here for a long time. We got this new setup. Keith is doing his best work. Got a switcher in here, so I ain't got to edit too much. So we're going to get in and out of here because it's late. It's late. We watching the Lakers and Dallas. The Clippers and Dallas game. I got my mind on the Lakers because I don't know why they out. They gone.
Because he still confused you. You know why. That's what it is. Because everything's still confused.
But we watching Luka versus Kawhi right now, second quarter. But the headlines are the headlines. The Lakers have been eliminated.
They gone.
They out of here.
They gone.
1, 2, 3 Cancun.
Right. Shout out to B. I mean, this is probably the biggest surprise of it all. The last time we were on this show, we were talking. I remember the question I asked: the Lakers hitting their stride. The Lakers hitting their stride.
But if you remember, before the postseason even started, the sentiment that I and the rest of y'all shared was, yeah, sure, Lakers are gonna be fine as long as they stay healthy, and they didn't.
Soon as Anthony Davis went down, I believe he has a groin injury.
The groin is what really kept him out. He also had a knee injury as well. I think he suffered that in like game 2.
Okay, so it's 2. Dang,
it was game 2 was the knee. Game 3 was the groin.
Yeah. So he went down, and the series changed right before our eyes. It changed, and we saw it go in fruition on game 6.
Fruition.
D-Book dropped 47.
Cold, so cold.
And it really looked like the Lakers didn't want to play no more without AD. And I think that's where a lot of the I don't know, what we call it, turmoil kind of picks up with, or
criticism.
Yeah, thank you. Where we're looking at the Lakers, it's like, y'all not going to play because AD not here?
No, it was AD went out in the first 4 minutes of that game, and the body language. And
everybody.
And it's
everybody.
It starts from top down. Like,
get in your bag, I know.
You know what? I'll start. I'm not even gonna start with him. I'll start with the coach. I don't remember really seeing Coach Frank Vogel stand up. Like, every time the camera panned to him, he's just sitting. And I'm just like, yo, your body language. Bron didn't get back on defense. Like, it was insane, just shaking his head. It was like, yeah, of course everybody's going to shoot bad because you're just looking at them in disgust the whole time.
Yeah.
Disgust. It was, the body language, it was some of the worst I've ever seen from an individual, not even a Laker team, but just an individual game.
Right.
From one team. It was just no effort, really. And it wasn't a team effort. It wasn't cohesion. It was more so everybody was out there. I think they went out there just hoping that they wouldn't lose. They didn't attempt to win. Like, it didn't seem that kind of effort. And I know it might seem extremely harsh that I say, wow, an NBA team just went out on the floor. They're getting paid millions.
And didn't expect to win.
But all I can say is what I saw.
Right.
And what I saw is you show me with your body that you don't care enough.
Yeah.
And even in the post-game interviews, and I understand, like, I'm not sitting here, I'm not going to be one of those people that's like, oh, Bron's legacy's up, blah, 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 he's taking a hit. Nah, but criticism is criticism, and as long as it's fair criticism, it's okay. Yeah. We're going to give it to everybody, because if Kawhi came out there with that kind of body language, or if you see Steph do like that, like Steph he didn't play by himself, of course, but he backpacked a whole team with no other star next to him.
Yeah.
Draymond, former All-Star, but like I'm talking about people who can actually carry a load, or at least an offensive scoring load. And you don't see that kind of body language from Steph, especially in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You didn't see it in a playing game against the Grizzlies at all, but you see Bron walking back on defense if he's getting back on defense.
Yeah.
And it's just, you see him down 20-30 just sitting on the scoreboard table, and I'm just like, why you just look so relaxed? Like, and then in the post-game interview, you're making jokes at.
No, I'm a be playing for the Toon Squad.
And it's something, and I can't say this, it's kind of been a trend that I have seen. Bron losses, especially ones that aren't good, those post-game interviews are just brutal.
Yeah.
Like, remember the time he told everybody to be better tomorrow and just walked out? After he lost to the Mavs, he said that we were all broke and our opinions don't matter.
Essentially.
Yeah, and this time he's at a certain level. Like, I get it. I'm all with the jokes. I like basketball being fun, but I kind of want a certain level of competitiveness and fire in these kind of moments. Like, I didn't want to hear a joke.
And that's why, and we'll talk about this when the season is over, but that's why people are bringing up the GOAT conversation again about LeBron.
After every season they will.
Every season they will, but that's why they're bringing this up again, because all I kept seeing, all the comments I kept hearing, even when I went to the barbershop, everyone said, like, Kobe wouldn't have let that happen.
Oh, bro, all I saw today were clips of Kobe frying the Suns in the playoffs. That's all I saw.
Kobe wouldn't have let that happen. Kobe wouldn't have went out there like that just because his second man went down. Not like that. And I said, there's been moments where Kobe, like we talked about before, Kobe made a decision where I'm not going to shoot the ball. And he did that out of spite.
Granted, he did that in the game 7 when he was up 3-1, and I think, like, what was that, the Smush Parker mob?
I think so. And so, I mean, but in a
like in that year, Kobe would have killed for this Laker team, even without AD.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
So I don't think Kobe would have went like this, but then again, they're just two different players, and this is always going to be the criticism against Bron is when is that assassin instincts on it? Like, when is this? Because he takes over games, he influences games, like he does it all, but like when I need it the most and when I need it immediately,
it wasn't there.
He should have came out just firing. And if they ever got down, he just takes over the game. But it just seemed like he just let the game play itself out.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing that I mentioned heavily. I was like, yo, the best example I can give you happened in this playoffs already. And that's Luka when he dropped 42 on 37 shots. I was like,
guns blazing.
Like, we all
game
know.
Dropped 55 and lost.
Like, we all know. I mean, that was an efficient 55. Though.
Yeah, that was an efficient 55. He was like 12 from 17
shout out
from
to
the three.
Dame, who in the Trailblazers was also eliminated. We'll talk about that as well. But like that was he was like what 12 17 from 3?
He was like 12 for 17 from 3.
Like that's insane.
But Luka was just like, nah, I'm putting these joints up.
Yeah, whatever happens is gonna happen on me.
And that's how it has to go sometimes. Like I think we had this discussion last year. Playoffs, finals actually. And people were wondering about whether Bron should have passed it. Remember when I think it was Danny Green, he had missed that shot.
Yep.
I think Jimmy Butler had came out on Bron, and they were near half court. They were like 35 feet out at least.
Yep.
And we were talking about, what was the right play? He did get it to the open man, et cetera, et cetera. But when you're the best player on the floor and arguably the best player ever, if you ask some people, sometimes, especially in the playoffs, it's living down on me.
And sometimes, and the thing that I have with guys who talk about how Kobe played, how Jordan played, how we're seeing some other guys who are taking a lot of shots, high volume shots, saying that's not the right play, that's not the right play, that's not how you play basketball. I'm saying, if I'm the best player on the floor, that might be the right play.
Down the stretch, like
I'm the right play. If I'm the best player on the floor, I'm the right play,
regardless of whether I'm hot or not. Like I said, to bring up the Dame 55 again, down that stretch, I think. To start that fourth quarter, I think maybe Enes Kanter scored like a tip in, and then it was just like 17 straight Dame
all
points.
Dame.
And that's what I mean about LeBron. Like sometimes, like for example, I'm gonna give exactly what has been happening. Lakers lose. Who gets the most criticism right now, just on social media and blah 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 blah? It's gonna be people like Kuzma, KCP. They're gonna tell him to get out of there, et cetera, et cetera.
Now.
He didn't even play last game. So, but instead of doing that, if we're looking at it like, oh man, Kuzma's bumming it up, he didn't score, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm more looking at it, just me personally, that's a shot you're taking away from me because I was a better offensive option. We've all hooped where it was just like, don't shoot no more.
Right.
We've all had a team
get the ball up.
Where it was just like, nah, you're not scoring today, or like you just
tonight's
never wasn't all.
Tonight's not your night, and that's okay. That's okay. And the issue I have with Kuz is, or not necessarily Kuz, but this team, the Lakers, is that LeBron, Dennis Schroeder, Anthony Davis, how they were supposed to be, I guess, the three horsemen to score the basketball.
The nucleus.
The nucleus in terms of making sure offensively they stayed on pace. Too many times, all three of them watched guys like Taylor and Horton-Tucker, who played a great game last night, if you ask me. And great is subjective and relative to how awful everyone else was for the Lakers. So when I say that, but he there was moments in the third and fourth quarter he was being aggressive, he was attacking, he was chippy, he was talking back, like he was out there. He took Kuz's job last night. Like, if you ask me, he took Kuz's job.
I said it earlier
night.
In the season when I realized his minutes kept going up and up. I was like, yeah, but yeah,
it's cemented.
Yeah,
now.
Kuz. It's rumors, of course, that Kuz is gonna get traded. It's been rumors, and apparently,
no matter what team it is, if LeBron's team lost, somebody's getting traded.
And granted, that's fair because when LeBron loses, his teams generally blow up.
Mm-hmm.
They rarely ever just run it back with the same mobs. Of course, every team generally does a couple tweaking, even if you win. Like we saw the Lakers win with Trae Ariza, and then next year go get Ron Artest or Metal World Peace.
I always say you should
Panda's friend,
but that's a long story.
My friend, because he helped us get a chip. But realistically, sometimes it's a developmental, and me and Lee talk about this all the time, right?
Yeah.
And like I said, it's all fair criticism.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are going to be like, you just hate Bron and blah, 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 blah. To everybody out there, I put money on Bron last night. I know I have a long history of heavily criticizing him, but realistically, like Kyle Kuzma, his growth was stunted playing next to Bron. A lot of people's growth gets stunted playing next to Bron. And even if your growth was already there, your ability to do whatever gets... Kevin Love was a surefire Hall of Famer with the Timberwolves.
Yes. Stat-wise, yeah, you're going to do it.
Chris Bosh was probably a top 3 to 4 big man in the league at that time. Mm-hmm. And I understand sacrificing, but I feel like you can't control every aspect of the game and then decide to remove your control randomly. Because that's what I feel like Bron does. We built this entire team surrounding me and my decision making and et cetera, et cetera. And then he was just like, you know what, cruise control, sit back. What y'all gonna do? What?
It ain't been like this all year, fam. It ain't been like this all year.
Like you acting different. Like how I'm supposed to play how I normally play if you're acting different.
Right.
And it has to fall on his shoulders first because you're the leader. I don't want to hear nothing about anybody else. You are the leader.
Yeah.
We've all been in captain positions or in leadership positions where you get pulled aside by the coach or an AD or your parents or somebody, and somebody tap you on your chest and say, like, I don't care how well you played. I don't care about this or that. I don't care how bad your teammates played. Like, it's on you because that's your team.
Right.
So first and foremost, it is on you, Bron. It 100% is on you. And you underperformed it. So it was a double-double regardless.
Yeah.
Like, you underperformed, and you made your team. You know how we always say Bron makes his teammates better? Mm-hmm. Last night, he made them look worse than what they actually are.
I respect it. I looked at that game, and I was like, all right, man, this is one of those games where you have to just lace it up. Like, this isn't even about Vogel. This isn't about anybody else. You just have to go out there, lace it up. We want shot for shot. You're going shot for shot. I'm going to go out here, and I'm going to make sure we putting up the most efficient shot possible. And the most efficient shot possible does not necessarily mean the most open shot all the time.
Sometimes it's just me. It's just me shooting the ball. It's me going downhill. It's me attacking at the rim. It's not me just not moving half the possession. It's not me standing on the wing. And it's, you know what I loved a couple times that I saw last night? Bron would dribble the ball, like he always does, for 16 seconds of the shot clock, kick it, right?
Yep.
I saw it a couple times last night, and I'm not sure if it was frustration from the other players because of the stagnant offense or if it was just, no, we want you to do something.
Right.
But he would kick it, and they would kick it right back. And I'm like, exactly. Because you're not going to stand at the top of the key. Don't direct any offense and just kick it at the last second like you have Kyrie or D-Wade on your team. It's not like that. You have to actually run through it, or you have to go through it yourself.
And it's tough. Like the conversation about LeBron is tough because he's 36. But
you know what he told me all year? All year. I'm 36. Laugh emoji. Watch King crown.
No, you're right. I guess you're right.
You know what he said on May 7th? Shout out Jay Crowder. You know what he said on May 7th? He was like, what was the Instagram caption or whatever about it ain't fun when the bunny got the gun or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then Jay Crowder came back today with a similar caption, clowning, which I 100% respect because Bron was going at Jay Crowder that series.
Right.
Like chirping on him.
And Jay Crowder wasn't.
And it wasn't even like Jay Crowder was like, but it was get the F off me, etc.
Right.
I'm all cool. It's playoff basketball. But now everybody got a problem with what Jay Crowder says after the win. Like, nah.
He
gets to talk his stuff because Jay Crowder showed up yesterday.
He hooped, and he did his job.
He did more than what his job was, in my opinion. But as far as taking it back to when you said sometimes you just got to go back and forth, and sometimes you just have to try to match that type of energy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Bron should have looked at Book and said, no.
Right.
I'm either gonna balance this or cancel this.
Right.
But it just seemed like there was no opposition. And granted, I know we've been harping on the Lakers for like this whole little segment we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Big ups to the Suns.
No, they went out and won this series.
Yeah,
they went out and won this series.
They took
because we all sat here like I said, we sat here last episode.
I said I had to root for the Suns if they were gonna win. I was like, they need all the fans they get.
Like we sat here and said the Lakers hitting their stride. It looked like they're gonna make this done. They're gonna get this done in quick fashion. I said that, quote unquote, quick fashion, and I was loud and wrong. Granted, you could say, oh, it's because of injuries and all that in the third. They didn't stop playing. Cameron Payne, Cameron Johnson, Jay Crowder, Bridges, D Book, Chris Paul Aiden. With the bad shoulder. Like they all DeAndre Ayton, like you said, these guys came out and they attacked them. They went out and they attacked every moment they could.
Every time.
I can't hate that. I sat here. I told you I'm rooting for the Suns. Now I didn't think they were gonna do it, but I'm sitting there rooting for them. Saying I like what I see out of Cameron Payne, Johnson. We was talking about Cam,
Lotto, Cam Johnson.
Knocked down.
Wow.
Knocked down out of that corner.
No. He's been playing great all season though. I will give him that all season,
man. And they look so calm. And shout out to Monty Williams for instilling the confidence in them that, like you said, they built on in the bubble last season. And I don't want to hear anyone say like, "Oh, we're gonna not validate the bubble anymore," because that means you gotta not validate the Suns.
Yeah,
you gotta not validate
what D Book did in the bubble. He went 8-0. He won undefeated.
Like you invalidating a lot of other aspects if you just talk about Miami Heat lost, the Lakers lost,
so the bubble's fraud.
Like it doesn't work that way.
Basketball is basketball, and what I always say is, in times of league turmoil, everybody in that bubble went through the same thing.
Exactly.
They were all getting checked the same. They were all et cetera, et cetera. It's even if
all
it's
the cotton swabs.
Even if it's a bad playing field, it's an even one.
Right.
So you got to show up and still
bubble
hoop.
Together.
And I understand that the NBA isn't used to not having fans, and that's that kind of atmosphere that we're used to playing under. But realistically, if you're a hooper and I'm a hooper, I don't care what the ball is. I don't care what the court is. I don't care whatever is. If I got to hoop with the same conditions as you, I'm not making any excuses.
Exactly. And it's like I said, the Lakers this season is a fail. We looked at them and said they are the pseudo number 1 seed. Despite being in 7th, this is a failed season. LeBron and AD failed. I'm not hating on AD. This is not hate on AD.
I was actually mad that he tried to play.
I was mad he tried to play because
I understand it, but I was like, man, come on, dog. Especially from what we saw from Kevin Durant a couple years ago.
This ain't it. But I also don't like the narrative that people are using to service AD.
What do you mean?
And so everyone was talking about, did he feel pressure to play? Did he feel pressure to play?
I mean, he loves basketball. I assume that he just wanted to play.
I did too. But people saying, yeah, of course he felt pressure. When you got guys like Charles Barkley, Kendrick Perkins,
always calling you
Stephen A.
soft and
saying like, man, we don't know what's wrong with him, but he needs to play all that in the third. We hope he's really hurt. I'm like, look, fam. Even if that's the case, the truth is the truth. He's never healthy. Yeah. Like, Charles didn't lie when he said, homie, you are street clothes. Like, that is your name. You are Anthony Street Clothes Davis.
He be fly, yo.
That's not a lie.
He's the only 6'11" person I've ever seen that make like joggers look normal. Like, I don't know what he because know, like when you 6'11", everything stopped. Like, it's hot water.
Like, he is a guy who cannot stay healthy. And I heard someone say like, he's gonna be fine. He's in his prime. I said, I don't even know if we can consider prime anymore. Prime may have been 3 years ago.
I didn't even think he hit his prime yet.
When he hit
that shot that
when he hit Portland for the sweep. Like that may have been his prime. We may have seen the passing of AD's prime just because of his health.
Yeah, but because
of his health, not his talent.
Which I
don't
hope
get me
not.
wrong, his talent.
I hope not.
Talent-wise, AD can be the best player in the world.
But you can have all the talent in the world, and you know what they say the best ability is?
Availability. I need to see you on the court, especially in Game 6s, Game 7s, Game 5s.
That's why you're getting the big bucks. Like, realistically,
you not getting.
If I got $100 million in an account, right?
Yep.
But all of it's frozen. Mm-hmm. What's the point of me having $100 million? Like, if I can't touch it,
I'm broke.
Like, when bills are due, and it's like, nope, can't touch it.
I'm broke.
Like, you can only look at it. It's in the green whenever you don't need it for real, for real.
I'm broke. I ain't got it. Well, your account, Greg said, I ain't got it.
Yeah, I don't got it on me.
But 100 mil, swipe. Oh, I'll swipe. Decline. That's what AD right now looks like. A decline.
That's what Game 6 looked like.
A frozen account.
He tried to swipe the card, and it read for like 2 minutes, and it was like, wipe it on your jeans.
Chris Paul saw that. They said, get that man out of here. We gonna go to him. We want to
attack him
every time he touches. Every time he's on defense,
it's smart.
We going right at him.
And I love one play I saw early. Of course, it was early in the game because AD was on the floor. Chris Paul, as talking about attacking, mind you, we know Chris Paul has that messed up shoulder. Mm-hmm. He got the ball, saw that AD was the switch on him. He pulled it back out, and he wanted an ISO. That's how you attack. That's how you, even with injury. And I get it. Bron was dealing with the ankle. AD was hurt. Lakers have been unhealthy all season. I'm not discounting the things that built up for the Lakers' loss because I understand it. They had 71, 72 days of rest.
Yeah.
Coming off of a finals chip. This was going to be a really, really hard chip regardless.
Yeah.
Even if you had a full off-season of rest.
Right.
So now you coming off of a really, really short rest in the off-season, coming off a weird COVID season last year, still getting adjusted to everything coming back this year. It was a lot of things going where I can understand how the Lakers lost. And for everybody, I'm not mad that the Lakers lost. Like, I'm disappointed, of course, because I'm a Laker fan. I kind of expect us to go up.
You mad the way they went out. It's okay. It's not okay. We not saying we gonna.
Everybody loses.
You're
gonna lose eventually. But in those times that you are losing, you do have to kind of choose how you're gonna lose.
You gotta show up.
Empty the clip. Empty the clip.
Man, we've been out there. When there's moments where I'm like, I don't know, ain't because I ain't shoot the rock. Yeah, not because I didn't shoot the rock.
We lost for a whole lot of reasons, but not because I wasn't being aggressive.
I won't trying. Like I won't out there putting in my best work. Like that's the tough part. But like I said, man, shout out to the Suns.
Big shout out to the Suns.
They showed up.
It's heavy criticism for the Lakers, but that's not taking away anything. The Suns went out there and won that game.
D Book, star. He's here.
He's gonna be a superstar.
He is here, and we've talked about a lot. Brian said it on the last episode. A lot of things that was said on the episode foreshadowed some of these moments we're seeing now, where Nikola Jokic beats out Dame and CJ. Nikola Jokic is 24.
Granted, MPJ's younger. And MPJ went bananas.
What, 6 for 6 to start the game?
Bro, I was watching that first quarter. Like, what are you on?
I'm like, bro, he's going. Like, he's just going. I'm like, oh man, this is what I wanted. This is what I wanted to see. This is what I was talking about.
But we all knew that when he was
KD tendencies. I said, this is what I'm saying.
When he was at like Nathan Hale in high school, we all knew he had this ability. A lot of people said coming out of high school, his senior year, he would have been the #1 overall pick.
It was practically cemented.
It was locked. And then he got it. He hurt his back when he was in college, and now everybody took. He fell to 14th.
It was practically cemented, bro.
Like, after the 5th pick, I was like, oh, Michael Porter going to go up now. Ain't nobody going to let him drop that low.
Even Jerry West passed on him. Even Jerry West.
Hey, man, legends get passed on sometimes. Become a legend. That's all I want to say. And you ever feel slighted, become a legend.
And these young legends,
they're taking over the game.
Are showing up, and they're getting out this generation that we've kind of grown up with.
But it's generally going to be that way. Like, for example.
It's time. Time always takes, does his thing.
We just got fooled with how long LeBron was the best basketball player in the world. Like, the length of his prime was so absurd. Mm-hmm. And now we all got confused as if this still isn't a younger man's game.
Yeah. You're right.
Like, a lot of the times, like, for example, if I ask you a question, What year do you think Kobe was his best? What version of Kobe?
What version of
Kobe? Yeah, just give me a year.
I normally say that 08, 07 period.
Was he 33? Was he 36?
Nah.
No, he was in his later 20s.
Right.
That is what I mean by we got fooled by how good LeBron was for so long. We forget that generally the best players in the game are age 28 to 31.
Yep.
That's when like you're at your peak.
Your physical peak.
And you know the game is as much as it's gonna match with that physical peak. Of course, the more you play the game, your IQ is gonna rise. But
right.
Just because you know some stuff, can you do it on the floor?
Exactly.
So from like the ages of like 28
can you execute.
Exactly. So D Book is what, 24, 25 now?
No, is he 24 already?
I think he's 24. I want to say. We can fact check that.
How long has he been in the league? 7 years?
He came in
at 19. Devin Booker.
Hey, he's at a spot where I'm not surprised that he's just doing this so calm.
Drafted 2015. 24. 24 years old, man.
But he was so far back on that ESPN list. I'll never forget that list. Yo. Go check out that episode. ESPN, whatever list they made, it was so trash.
Oh, man, he's getting good. He's plugging the old shows. I like that. But honestly, like, you're looking at all these series where Devin Booker with the bottom line in Game 6. He was the bottom line. I said, when we were talking about the Blazers, I said, I think this series is over. I think Nikola Jokic is the bottom line in this series. If he's the best player on the floor,
it's a wrap.
I think they're winning. And there's only one game where Dame was the best player on the floor, and because they lost Game 5, I said there's no way they win the series.
And there's when they come back to Portland, they started off well. I was like, they can still take this game. Like, I think Portland is going to win this game. I didn't see MPJ just balancing out because Jokic had an awful first quarter. He got in early foul trouble.
And he was down. 2 fouls. He was playing pretty good even like before he got subbed out. He had, I think, three or four assists, couple boards. I think he hit one shot. Yeah. Like, he didn't play.
He was playing Jokic. He was being Jokic.
He didn't play bad at all. And so I'm looking at him like, okay, cool. We're going to be all right. We're going to be straight. We ain't got to worry about none of that. And maybe Dame and CJ could pick this up. But then MPJ pops in. And he's not missing.
Nothing.
And he's attacking the ball everywhere it went.
And it was just bottom. It wasn't touching anything. Like, that's what people don't realize. It wasn't like he was rattling them
everywhere it went. There was one, I think Paul Millsap had it in the corner. He ran from one side, almost on some Steph Curry stuff. Ran from one side of the floor to the other side, wrapped around for the handoff, baseline 3, corner 3. I said, ooh. He's here right now. Like, he's locked in right now.
He's locked in.
Now, I'm looking at, so these young guys, Trae Young, taking out, Randall is a vet. Randall's D Rose, been Eastern Conference finalist before. Like, MVP. That's not the same D Rose, but yeah. Tom Thibodeau. That's
Knicks were one of the better defensive teams in the league during the regular season. Trae Young often got ridiculed because they was like, you can't have him leading your team with his bad defense because he can't stay in front of anybody. He doesn't have a playoff game, etc., etc. I'm so happy.
He went out.
I'm really mad you talked me out of my Hawks pick.
I am. I'm mad too. I felt bad about it
because I started with Hawks in 5 and ended up like Knicks in 7.
I wanted the series just to be long, so I didn't feel bad about it. Like, but he just kept young boys. We talk about Trae, Herter, Collins. I think the oldest person on that team might be Capella.
Oldest? I don't know. I have to check. How old is Danilo?
Oh, Danilo. Never mind. I'll take that back. Danilo's the oldest person on that team. Like, that's one of the youngest teams in the league. I mean, granted, we're looking at matchups with Donovan Mitchell and John Morant. That series is over. That went 5, but that was a strong 5-game series.
It was a great series.
Like, I enjoyed watching
it. Didn't feel 5.
It didn't feel 5.
Yeah, it didn't feel 5.
Dylan Brooks, active.
Bucket.
John Morant, active. Jaren Jackson Jr., active. Like, and they were attacking these guys.
No, people will understand. Like, I think the younger generation more so than ever understands the game is about a bucket. And it's something I'll always preach. You hear me say it all the time.
Candace Parker said it best. She tweeted.
She did say it the perfect way.
She said it best. She said, y'all always talk about defense, but at the end of the day, I would rather have a guy who's a bucket and tell them to be more.
You could teach a guy.
You could teach a guy defense.
Like, if he's averaging 30, you can teach him team defense.
Right.
You can't teach Pat Bev to go out there and average 30.
You either got it or you don't. You either got it or you don't. You've been in the lab or you haven't.
And now, of course, like some people's offensive game can raise. We've seen that exponentially in a lot of players who just made huge jumps. For example, Julius Randle this year.
But does that equate to winning?
No.
And that's the point. Some of these guys out here averaging 30 on some trash teams, and we're like, okay, cool, whatever.
30 still 30 in the league, but I understand exactly what you're saying.
Right, like we're not gonna hate on you getting 30, but y'all 20 and 50. Like, all right, I mean, I guess that's cool. We know you can score, but that's not winning.
Yeah, it's cool, but it's like it's kind of the reason the way people looked at it is kind of why Brad got overlooked when he shouldn't have been. Because Brad was just going bananas. Like, we're not talking about Brad's 30 when we say this.
No. Brad Beal does not count.
Yeah, because Brad is.
Look at Brad Beal's roster, and it's obvious that he does not count over the last 3 seasons. I'm just taking the last 3 seasons where he's averaged 29 to 31 points.
Brad is really good at basketball.
Like, relax.
But yeah, there's a lot of empty points being scored. But yeah, shout out Candace Parker. She definitely said it the best. I love the fact that she has said it because you hear me echo the same man all the time. Like, I'll say it casually. I never seen a game in 0-0. So I don't care. Like, of course I care about defense is really important. But you're not going to sit here and tell me that defense is more important than a bucket. Because you can't end the game 0-0.
Right.
So that means that you have to score.
I mean, we say it all the time. Great defense. Better offense. All the time.
And it's getting to the point where a lot of these guys are so skilled, so young, because they're having pro-level type training starting. Some of them are even at younger ages. Yeah. Like you're in 8th grade training with pro trainers.
Right.
And of course, that kind of work on your body is another reason why we see a lot of these injuries popping up for a whole lot of these guys when they're so young. But realistically, the skill level we've seen, and which is always, I say, this is the era of the most skilled basketball players, is because they've been starting from the womb.
Right.
And they've just been working, and they've been really meticulous, and they've taken from the likes of, this is kind of like, it's weird, but it's kind of like the Kobe Bryant influenced era, where everybody's just like, nah, game, gotta work on the game, gotta work on the game.
This is craft.
They love it. They love to actually work on their game.
To be in the gym by yourself, nobody else, you, maybe your trainer if you got one, but just to work on your game. The craft of actually working on your game.
They're getting really creative with it. Like Trae Young, he practices shooting trays off of bad passes. So he have this trainer just like roll the ball to him, throw it out. So a lot of times I see it reflecting games, and this isn't a 12-second clip.
You can't tell me he doesn't practice lobs. You can't tell me.
They work on their game. They're so skilled, bro.
That last series versus the Knicks, he was practicing lobs, and I'm like, fam, I don't think people understand how smooth some of these. He did a Euro step to a floater lob. Like, it was, I didn't know if it was a shot or a pass until Clint Capella caught it.
They're so creative. Like, it's crafty. They play with pace.
Man.
They're amazing players.
It's impressive. And so these young boys are here. Tatum going for 50. Yes, he got gentleman swept, but Kemba didn't play.
They would have got swept if he didn't go for 50.
But 50.
And before that series, like a week before that series, he went for 50.
He's attacking Kevin Durant. He's attacking Kyrie.
He's attacking everybody and their mama.
James Harden. It don't matter who's in front of him. These guys aren't looking at, I guess, the current gen of players, of LeBron, this passing era that we're seeing. Like, it's going to take a little while before they kind of really exit.
Yeah. Because you still have, like, the Nets, the KDs, even the Hardens, what the Warriors are going to come back and look like. So it's not like I'm not saying Luke is about to win the next 3 championship and it's his league. Nah. But you're seeing.
They're not scared. And fear. And they know their time is on the way. Like, and if they can force it,
they're trying to get you out of here.
They gonna get you out of here.
And I said it a couple years ago when D. Mitch had put that Thunder team out. excuse me, it was a Utah Jazz effort. I'm not gonna say D Mitch because Joe Ingles was hooping. I still love that series.
Shout out to Joe Ingles.
But when they had put 3 Hall of Famers out, I was like, wow, like a team spearheaded by this young guard. It's like, now I was like, oh, maybe that is Baby Flash. Now we
start comparing, like, oh, maybe people are passing torches in some way, shape, or form, or taking torches in some way, shape, or form.
No, I like that because the young guys aren't waiting for it to get past.
Like they are out here saying, we're watching it right now. Luka Doncic is the best player in this series right now. Like,
I asked you this question before the podcast. I said, now that the Lakers are eliminated, now that Portland's eliminated, who do you think is the best player in the West right now? And it's crazy because arguably you're probably going to say 1 or 2 names, Jokic or Luka.
Right.
So you're sitting there saying that a 22 or 24-year-old is the best player in this conference when you still have a 2-time final MVP in Kawhi Leonard. When you still had a person who had backpacked his team in the East and PG, you still have...
PG's been on all NBA, all defense teams.
You still have these guys with all these accolades who haven't even exited their prime. Right. But we're sitting here trying to figure out if 22 and 24-year-olds are better than them right now. It's a mentality. They just put in so much work from such a young age. They're ready. Right. All of them are born ready. Right. It just seemed like it.
Right. These series have been so fun. Anyone who's saying... one of my first questions, because of a lot of the injuries that was going on, Joel Embiid, he's hurt, and we're just trying to see if he can come back and be ready for the Atlanta Hawks series. AD going down, Jamal Murray not being around was a huge deal for me.
It was a huge one.
Huge deal, because looking at them winning that series without him, I'm like, yo, they could get in the finals and compete. Like, I don't know if I was going to pick them as my favorites, but I know I'm not picking against them either. Like, we had real conversations all across the board. So I was like, man, are injuries putting a damper on this playoffs? And now I'm more inclined to say no.
People are just stepping up. It's always the next man up.
Stepping up.
Shout out Monte Morris.
I hear people say all the time, we're going to be so sad when LeBron leaves. Yes, I'm going to be sad when LeBron leaves because LeBron is a great player, and he's been a great player for a long time.
Consensus top 5, my top 3.
And facts. And anybody who says that LeBron is not a top 5 NBA player all time, you're fraudulent. You are fraudulent.
Big fraud.
I cannot take your word at all.
Even in my biggest hating days, you never heard me say that like that. Like in my biggest LeBron hating days, I never said anything as blasphemous as that.
I cannot listen to you. There are 3 players that I have come to the consensus that they have to be in my top 5. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and LeBron James.
And the orders are always going to change, and I'm starting to understand because you can't.
That's preference, and that's recency bias. That's all.
Basketball is an art form as well, and we all gonna appreciate it differently.
Exactly.
It's not gonna ever be a consensus order.
Exactly.
Now
Van Gogh, Picasso, both legendary.
But you better know both of their names.
Exactly.
That's what I mean.
Both names.
Bron don't gotta be 1, 2, or whatever, but he better be up there.
Both names better be said.
Picasso's better.
See.
Van Gogh made Starry Night, right? Yeah, I take Picasso. I think Starry Night's overrated, but whatever. Whatever. I don't know enough about art to even ever speak that, but
you're correct.
But
that's the way I feel because art.
But both names better be said.
Yeah.
Fair.
And you saying Picasso's better is me saying Michael Jordan is better. Okay. And so I understand the people who say, oh, Kobe or LeBron or whatever, and the third.
It's a lot of preference.
I'm not going to sit here and fight you anymore over it. But what I will fight over is the fact that LeBron James is and forever will be cemented in the top 5. And that's what we do on the internet all the time. LeBron loses. Kawhi loses. Anybody, KD lose or KD goes somewhere, we start throwing their names all over disrespectfully. I'm like, don't tell me he's
solidified.
Don't tell me he's not one of the greatest players you ever seen touch the floor. Like, it's impossible.
It's top impossible. 5. KD's one of the greatest scorers ever. One of the greatest talents the basketball world has ever seen, period.
Don't be disrespectful. Yeah. I just can't.
I'm cool with jokes and memes to a certain degree because I'm going to make jokes and memes for sure. But I understand that's just the entertainment value. But you have to actually appreciate the game to even dare make a joke or
Right.
Because if you're just one of those people who are just waiting to trash a player when they have a bad game, it's like, bro, what are you?
You add no value to the culture.
You're taking from it.
You add no value
Really
to the culture.
taking from it.
Miseducating people out here who want to learn and all that in the third.
Man, that's just disrespectful. But speaking of it, because Kevin Durant popped up, we have this Nets-Bucks matchup coming on Saturday.
Great job,
like
man.
7:30 p.m. Go check out episode like 5 or something, Segways.
Something Segways.
Yeah, if I'm plugging,
I'm pretty sure Segways was way later than 5.
I don't know, man. I'm just proud that I know the episode name. You have this Nets-Bucks matchup.
Yep.
A lot of people are saying this is going to be the preview as to who's going to win the finals. It's like whoever comes out of that series alive.
That's what I've said.
That's what it seems like now because nobody believes in the Clippers. Mm-hmm. Lakers are out.
Yep.
So do you?
And
really,
Denver's missing an important piece. Denver's missing an important piece. I like Phoenix. I think Phoenix is very, very good.
But Phoenix plays at such a slower pace that if they see a team like Brooklyn,
you like you said about Utah, the young boy leading them. Well, the next round, all right, Utah's out of here. Now they showed us something, and we like what we saw. But all right, cool. Phoenix, good run. Y'all may even get to the Western Conference Finals, but all right, this isn't your year, in my opinion. Now, if D Book comes out and
I hope so,
and takes this
and be legendary,
and takes this like that,
if D Book comes out and
I'd love
be
to
legendary,
be wrong.
if he just be legendary,
D Book, I would love to be wrong, fam. I'm not even gonna kick it.
I'm hoping.
Go
I'm
ahead,
wrong.
do you. Like, wouldn't hate that one bit. I'll come on the show. I'll apologize. I always apologize whenever I'm wrong, and I'll say, "Yo, this was amazing. I love to see it." But in my opinion, I'm not with the idea that Phoenix is an actual
contender
threat to Brooklyn or Milwaukee.
They're not. Like, in my opinion. Now, great, they might put up a fight, but I honestly think if Phoenix gets to the finals, they're probably going to get swept by a team like Brooklyn. Simply because of the play styles. Mm-hmm. Brooklyn hits at too high of a clip for you to play at the pace that you do if you're Phoenix.
Right.
Because Brooklyn is a team where you have to match. That's why the one game the Celtics got, they had a guy to go for 50. They said, like, me by myself, I'm going to try to match the offensive output that all three of y'all stars do.
Which I believe they're averaging 85 points in the playoffs together right now.
Ridiculous.
85.
Like, I saw one game, it was like KD had 30-something, Kyrie had like close to 30-something, and then James Harden had like a triple-double. And I was like, what? Yeah. And remember, a lot of people, like I said, like casual fans, I know who I can talk hoops with and who I can't if they ever say there's only one ball. That's the dumbest statement I've heard in basketball since I was a child. There's only one ball. You know what you do? You raise your possessions up. You get more efficient shots. That's what happens. You just raise the pace. Now everybody's still getting theirs.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, my concern is, and we're gonna see it in this series, the series where you're looking at two different situations. One team is going to light it up as best as they can. That's Brooklyn. Then you got Milwaukee. You're looking at them like, okay, they've spent this entire season working on defensive coverages, working on rotations,
it's
working on like it's gonna be a great series if everybody shows up. And that's what Milwaukee's
have to. This is a series that everybody needs to show up,
right? Like,
especially if you're Milwaukee, because you don't.
It can get out of hand fast,
really fast.
It can get out of hand fast. And I was, like I said, I'm talking to certain people, and I was saying, like, the matchups wise, I like what I see. Matchups like Drew versus Kyrie. Well, on the defensive end, Drew ain't going nowhere,
bro.
Chris Middleton,
so solid.
Chris Middleton is a two-way player.
Has taken another step
and taken a huge step offensively.
Like I said, I give credit when credit is due. I have criticized you, and if you respond accordingly, I will shut up.
Kevin Durant versus Giannis. Need I say more? Like, it is
unicorns.
It is what it is. Oh, now we seeing like straight up, straight down. Okay.
Brook Lopez been hooping.
Right.
Joe Harris been hooping.
Right.
I'm like,
Brent Forbes hooping. Pat Connaughton playing great off the bench in terms of role player situations. Bruce Brown.
He's been running the 5. I was like, and he like, and
we have yet to mention Blake Griffin. Like this series.
No, this is the series.
And Bobby Portis been playing well. Like for Milwaukee, like this series could be a very, very strong 7-game series where we look at it like, man, that was one of the ones to remember.
The crazy thing is, like, I can still see in this go 4 or 5 and all the games just be close.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think there's going to be, like, I can't guarantee it goes 7, but I don't think they're just going to be blowouts.
Yeah.
I think all of these games, they're probably going to end up going, they're probably combined for around 220 to 230 points every game. Because I think Brooklyn's pace is going to get slowed a little because of the Bucks' defensive efforts. But it just depends on how they come out and hit because, like we just explained, sometimes you can give the best defense in the world, and especially for a team like Brooklyn, when you have 3, you probably have the top 3, in my opinion, most skilled ISO scorers that the league has in the today.
Well, Kyrie is definitely in the top 3.
Literally, I think they're
in the top 3. And I can't fault anyone who says Kevin Durant's in the top 3. Like, when Kevin Durant is on, when Kevin Durant is locked in, he's the greatest player. He's the best player in the league. He's the best player in the league.
So when you have a team
not
like
ever,
that,
just today, but you know,
when you have a team like that, sometimes it doesn't matter how great of defense you play.
Right, and one of the things that I wanted to see, and I'm taking this in as my NBA Finals a little bit. And I know the NBA Finals will come, and I'm not trying to disrespect the NBA Finals.
No, it's because we all kind of wanted LA versus Brooklyn.
Right.
Like, even people who aren't Lakers fans or Brooklyn fans, if your team wasn't going to go to the finals, that's kind of the finals that we were all expected to see.
Right, so my position on this series is looked at like, all right, whoever wins this series, I think wins it all. Like, barring injury, whoever wins the series, and I know that's a huge thing to bar because right now guys are dropping left and right. And you can take that and say, like, maybe because they rushed him back too soon or the schedule was tight to begin with, 7-2 games, even though they dropped 10 of them. Like, I understand. A lot of conditions to go over. But looking at this series, I'm like, dang, this is the one. This is the series.
And we all feel that way because in the playoffs that are left, who are the top 2 teams?
It's them.
And it's crazy because it's East. I love the switch. I love it. I'm actually here for it. Finally got me over here respecting the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, it's been a while since we did that. A long while.
I was trying to think of the year.
15. It was 15, 20. Like, it's been a while. Like, I was 5.
Yeah, I was times like really respected the East. I was like, well, when Boston got there in the Heat, and I was like, nah, it was just Boston in the Heat.
Really?
A little bit of Indiana at that time, but we didn't really think they were going to win it all.
But that was a flash. Detroit 1-2.
Are you talking about in like 2004?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I thought you were talking about recently. I was
no, not recently.
Detroit.
No, not Detroit. No.
Yeah. Talking about team battling the Timberwolves in terms of who's going to just be
the trashes.
The most lost. Detroit, I don't know their record this year, actually.
I don't remember either.
Yeah.
But I think the questions of this series get answered. The questions of Brooklyn gets answered, and the question of Milwaukee gets answered in this series more than any other series they'll play for the rest of the way out.
I can't say this. I feel bad because if I got to make a pick right now, if I got to make a pick anytime, because I made it at the beginning of the season that the Nets were going to get out, even before Harden came. Mm-hmm. So I still believe in that. Mm-hmm. I'm going to feel bad a little bit because I know once the Bucks lose, there's going to be a whole lot of Giannis hate. Mm-hmm. But this is like the 1 year where I'm like, I'm not really mad that you're losing to the Brooklyn. Like, you lost to Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, James Harden. I understand the mob that you kind of had, and this is the best Bucks mob that you've had.
But that mob might just be that much better.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's more so a question of, all right, yes, I agree with your sentiment. If you have superstar talent all over the court, they're going to find a way to win. And they're going to make sure the ball gets to where it needs to be in order to win. I agree.
I appreciate that. I've been echoing that for a minute now.
I've never opposed that theory. What I've always opposed was the actual muscle memory in moments of late games. And the, not saying the chemistry, but yeah, the muscle memory. What do we do when the game is tight? It's close. We need a bucket. We need to score. We got to make a decision. What do we do now? And at no point have they been in that situation yet. And so,
because when the game is close down the line, they just start hitting shots.
Right,
it's crazy.
But here's the issue. The issue comes into play when you got a team like a defensive team like Milwaukee,
they can get some stops down the stretch.
That can get stops down the stretch.
And I have seen it in the regular season.
They're a threat to come back and get a bucket themselves. Like Drew Holiday has.
Yeah,
I think in the playoffs, Drew Holiday's averaging what? 19, 20?
I would say any given night, Drew Holiday can get 25. On any given night, Chris Middleton can get 25. Like, Giannis is going to get his 25.
Right. So, like, the pressure is on both ends now
for sure.
For Brooklyn. And when you take into account that they look so good together, but you count the games they've played together.
They played less than 20 games, including the playoffs. Less than 20 games altogether. I think there are like 17 games or something like that. I'm sorry if I'm wrong, everybody. That was just off the
We don't
the
have
fly.
our stat man in front of us, and I have my laptop in front of me, but this is the docket. I'm not checking for stats the entire time. I refuse. But you look at that, it's like, oh, shoot. Okay, we got questions that have to be answered still. And
Facts.
I want, either win or loss, I want those questions to be answered. I don't want it to be a blowout where like, oh, dang, well, they're just that much better.
Yeah.
I kind of want to see them in some tight situations so I can be like, okay, no, they really that legit. Like, they really figured this out that fast. And they really do have answers for things. So but that goes into account in terms of how they prep for these moments. It's not because
if they are blowing people out, there's preparation going on. It's not like a lot of people are treating the Brooklyn Nets as if they're just going out there and playing pickup because they have stars.
That's the problem.
Like, no, these guys are they're NBA students, A's, perfect grades. Like, that's how they approach the game. They study it, they learn it, they love it. If you have a conversation, if you go watch any of the et ceteras with Kevin Durant, the podcast, you would hear the basketball intelligence sneak out. Like, a lot of people would just be looking at these guys like they're confused or
like, oh, they just score and they just score and
they have a great scoring ability, so they just go out there and play pickup. No, they're dissecting the game at a I don't know, like a molecular level. It's beautiful to watch.
Right. And so because of that, I want to, in those moments where the pressure is there, now the muscle memory has to come in. Now do you actually have to be mentally strong enough because you didn't share those moments with each other before. Oh, now we have to go back to saying, like,
the improvisation has to be crazy in terms of the later games too, because you just don't have all of that game time experience. Right.
But this is what we said we were going to do. This is what we committed to in terms of these situations. We're executing now. And not saying that they can't execute, but that's what we want to see. And so at least that's what I want to see. And so I'm excited about this series. This is the top tier series. This is the one where I'm like, look, I don't want nobody to get hurt. I don't want nobody to go down. I need everyone to play their best. I need everyone to show up, because if it's that, it's a classic. It's a hit. It's a hit.
No, this could be one of the better series that we've seen in a couple of years.
Mm-hmm. So I'm excited about that. Let's get out of here, man. We done. Shout out to Utah Jazz. Real quick, Dame. Trailblazers eliminated. People already talk about Dame to LA.
Oh,
we already talk about.
I meant to touch on this. I meant to touch on this. This is which game? Yeah, it's this one. This is for everybody who hated the Brooklyn Nets at the beginning of the year, especially after that James Harden trade. Who said they made basketball worse? It sucks. We hate it. Blah, 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 blah. Now we're all saying Dame to the Lakers. Mind you, it wasn't like Brooklyn just beat. They haven't even won the chip yet. And a lot of, I don't even know. I'm really confused on whether I want to say Laker fan or Bron. I'm so confused in the fandom right now, bro. Fans. But yeah, because that happens with Bron a lot. I think
you can say Laker fans,
but
I say the majority of Laker fans are wilding, bro.
But all I'm trying to say is, like, don't bring up like the Brooklyn Nets in terms of like, oh, they're just taking the easy route and blah, blah, blah. But every time Bron gets hit with adversity,
same thing.
It's always, he just needs more help, superstar help. We see the jerseys get photoshopped, blah, 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 blah. Like, I don't know. I don't expect fans of the game, including myself, to always be.
It's cherry picking.
But that's BS.
It's cherry picking.
Yeah. Don't tell me that's bad for the game and then tell me that's what you want for the game.
I don't like it.
Yeah, it's stupid and don't talk to me.
Consistency, man.
That's all I want. If you hate super teams, hate them.
All of them.
Yeah. Every single last one of them. But to answer your question, there was a tweet or a caption left for interpretation by Dame. It was a Nipsey Hussle lyric, and it was just, in short, it seemed as if he was questioning whether he wanted to, whether you stay for the long run or whether you leave. Long story short, and seek other opportunities. Dame could do whatever he wants. Dame is cold. Dame has served Portland greatly.
Correct. If he wants out, he wants out.
Correct.
Yeah. arguably, if you ask me, the most talented Portland player, and I don't know how long. Who? Bill?
Bill, not Bill Russell.
No, Walton.
Bill Walton. Then you have
like Brandon Roy got hurt.
Brandon Roy. I'm drawing a blank.
They drafted Greg Oden instead of KD, and Greg Oden was hurt.
What's my 2 guard, man? I can't believe I'm going blank on his name. Portland 2 guard. Played in the
Clyde.
90s. Clyde Drexler. Excuse me. I'm so sorry.
Out of all
Clyde
the names
Drexler.
we just said, I'll take Dame, but that's for a different discussion.
I'm so sorry, Clyde Drexler. But he's a legend, though. I can't.
Yeah, no. Yeah, Clyde's a legend.
For sure.
So I felt bad for that.
Yeah,
but I felt bad for that. So
Bill's the winner if that counts for anything.
Yeah, he's the one that got a ring. No. Yeah.
In Portland, I believe so. We can fast check that.
Yeah, I'll fact check that one.
My bad, y'all. It's almost 11. We ain't used to doing pods this late.
Yeah, man.
You said what?
It's almost 11.
It's almost 11.
It's 10:45, man. It's time to go.
Yeah.
Bill Walton, Portland. Championship.
Ooh.
What happened?
Pod still going. Breaking news. Who is this? Woj?
What do you say?
Yeah, it's Woj. Trailblazers and Terry Stotts mutually agreed to part ways after 9 seasons on Friday. We knew it was gonna happen, probably. Now, since we're still talking about Dame, does this spell the writing on the wall that he's out?
Not necessarily.
I don't think it does either. A lot of people were wondering if it was gonna be connected. I don't think.
1977 Portland Trailblazers won. Yes.
I know a little bit.
So,
Just a little bit about basketball.
A wee bit.
So, Terry Stotts is out. It was to be expected. A lot of people were calling for his head throughout this series because
throughout the last couple of years.
They said he was unimaginative and he didn't provide enough creativity in terms of the offense. It seemed like it was very ISO Dame centric, ISO CJ centric, and of course they just kept hitting a wall everywhere they played. So, but I think Terry Stotts is a great coach. I think he's a great coach. I think he did good coach. Excuse me, good coach, and he did his job fairly well for the most part. I think he'll find another position. I think he'll find a younger team that he can kind of like groom a little bit, maybe get them in a middle of the pack situation. But shout out to him. And like I said, we don't know what this necessarily means for Dame. Shout out to Bo. We were tweeting back and forth. He said, Terry Stotts is out of here. I said, yup. And then he came back and he said, what you think of everybody else? And I'm like, look, to be honest, it's difficult to say, but everybody on this board is getting looked at. Everybody. Nobody is really safe in terms of staying here.
The only one is if Dame just says he wants to stay.
And that's if he wants to. And I said the difficult decision is centered around CJ McCollum. And I hate saying that because that's my guy.
But all I'm trying to say is, Brian, whenever you watch the pod, it's tears. It's tears. Shout out Klay Thompson. But continue.
Yeah. So we seen Game 6.
I've seen Game 6 Klay. I've seen Game 6 CJ. No disrespect.
One of these
tears.
things is not like the other.
One of these guys are 6'7" and plays both sides of the ball.
So Trailblazers got a lot of questions ahead of them.
They'll figure it out.
Lakers as well, but we've already hit on that.
They'll figure it out.
LeBron gonna trade every we got to get back, so we ain't gotta worry about that at all. But
he'll start trading fans if he could. Granted, they were all quiet last night because there was just no energy being given to them.
That'd be crazy, bro.
I wish we had foam fingers and could store them on the floor. I remember we did that on Christmas when
wild.
When the Heat was just blasting the Lakers.
That was wild. I ain't never
cool
seen anything like that.
Kobe was cool. I'm cool with it.
I ain't never seen anything like that.
We like he was there.
I was.
Like, he was there for it.
In spirit.
All right. So we're gonna run through this real quick. We're still waiting on Dallas versus the Clippers. We'll have the results of that after, but y'all would know. Y'all would know. It's a 7-point game
Dallas
right now in the
6.
third.
Dallas and 6.
We'll see. It's close. Who knows if Kawhi cuts it on? We don't know.
Like I'll either be right or I'll be wrong.
Yeah.
But it's a close game. We'll see. Philly, Atlanta. Who wins?
Philly
How many
is
games?
6.
Philly 6. Milwaukee, Brooklyn.
Dun, dun, dun.
Brooklyn and the closest 5 you've seen in a while.
That's crazy.
Ooh.
I got Brooklyn in 7.
Ooh.
Brooklyn in 7.
I would love Brooklyn in 7, but
Denver, Phoenix.
I'm going Denver. I'm going Denver in 6.
I don't know, man. This is the one.
No, that's the hardest one.
This
you
is the one.
You saw me look up. I was like, all right.
This is the one.
But with Chris Paul injury, it just
Yeah. Monte Morris is playing so well. As stepping in. Austin Rivers playing so well.
he was out the league for months.
I don't know why there's a part of me that wants to say Phoenix, but I think
We really like the Phoenix wave right now, and I really like Phoenix. Win, lose, or draw.
But Denver, I think Denver's a little more experienced because of their experience. A lot of these guys have been in the situation with them already.
I told League yesterday, I was like, Portland and Denver probably have played in the most game 7s in the last 5 years.
Right. Like, and they're young too, so they're not. That's not an old team. Paul Millsap is old.
That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it.
Everybody else on the court really is.
And he's still serviceable.
Right, and he's still doing a lot of good things on the court, like you said, serviceable. So I'm Jokic, Morris stepping up, being great. That's going to be the toughest match. If Morris can match, not necessarily production.
If he can get 15 to 5, it's raps for Phoenix.
But if he can continue to play strong versus a point guard in Chris Paul, then this series.
That injury, though, Chris Paul's a question mark for me, not because of his ability to play, but we just said it, the best ability is availability. And if you can't be out on the court how they need you to be out there on the court,
yeah,
I don't got Phoenix doing to what they just did to the Lakers the last 2 games against a team like the Nuggets.
I feel bad picking against my guy Cam Johnson, UNC Tar Heel, but I'm going to have to go Denver in 7. And then Utah, whoever that may be.
I'm taking Dallas
over Utah. You a wild boy. I'm not picking this one until I see who wins. I'm not picking anyone until I see this one.
Dallas in 5.
You a wild. I'm not picking
in the Western
anything.
Conference Finals.
We getting out of here, man. It's 11 o'clock. He's tired because the game isn't even over. Like I think. Like, when you're watching this, we are watching Game 6. Like, it's not even I can't analyze this.
It's not even like the score is too close to really call.
Right. Like, this man is already making bets on Dallas, and they didn't even win the last round yet. So.
You want me to call the game after it's over? That's no point. That's no fun in that.
Do you? You got it. You got it, family. You got it. I'm not doing it. But we getting out of here.
Was it Mr. Hindsight?
Mr. Hindsight
from South Park.
I think it was. Yeah, Mr. Hindsight. You just show up everywhere. You should have did this. You should have did that, and then fly away. Oh man, we be plugging mad shows.
We really do.
Shout out South Park.
Oh, shout out to South Park. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. It's a great show.
Shout out Randy Marsh. That's the shout out I give.
Did you say that's your favorite character of all time?
On South Park for sure, but he's top 5 for me.
He's top
all
5
time.
for sure.
Top 5?
Top 5.
All shows, anything you want to name, like in terms of animation, Randy Marsh is top 5.
Top 5. Integrity Farms.
Let's go. Let's go. Yeah. Hey, man, we appreciate everyone who stuck with us, man. We love the fact that y'all watching this, whether it is Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, you name it. Like I said, we appreciate it. If you're if you're watching on YouTube, y'all know what to do, man. Subscribe, like, comment to join the conversation, and share with your homie so we can get more people to watch with us, man. We love the conversation. We love to bring in more people because, like I said, the bigger the family, the better the family. June 6th, please buy a shirt from
Too Many organization because it's going to be through us. Majority of the proceeds going to them. So hit us up, DMs, whether it's going to be my personal at King Comment Saman or it's going to be the actual Minor and Hoops Instagram account. Mm-hmm. Just hit us up, bro. Even if it's just donations, even if it's just trying to figure out how you're going to spend time volunteering, even if it's just like, hey, pat on the back, I'll repost for my support. Like any little thing counts.
Right. All the support has been amazing so far. We mentioned some of the people who supported, but we thank everyone so far who has shown love and bought T-shirts and donated in any way. It's greatly appreciated to know that y'all support us and y'all support what we're trying to support. That means a great deal to us. So thank y'all so much. Keith, you got anything to say?
No, I'm good.
Shout outs.
Man, I think we did most
Shout
of
out to everybody, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to everybody who did their thing out there on the court, man. We appreciate y'all. We did not talk about the Celtics at all, but that's a whole nother. That's going to be a long.
The Celtics, we need like 20 to 30 minutes by themselves. They changed everything in that organization around.
Like overnight. So that's a whole nother conversation. Y'all hear that on the next one, hopefully. As always, eat, sleep, breathe the game. We love you. Be safe. We out.
How long was that one?